It's obvious I was lying during the press conference. Banks are in fact not fine. I just have to make them cheaper next time for my dear friend, Jamie Dimon, the real chairman of the Fed. Did you regards forget who appointed me?
What's going on, guys? K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having an awesome day today. What's going on? 2 videos in a row? Well, actually, if we have a look at Bitcoin, not too much is going on. As usual, we got the 75 basis point raise, not too much affecting the charts. We are seeing massive coins pump. However, obviously, Pepe up another 75%. How long can this meme season actually keep continuing for? Well, there is a bit of caution that I will speak about, but there may still be some opportunities nevertheless. However, unfortunately, guys, the banking crisis is continuing to unfold. In fact, it is heating up, and there's something very big on the horizon for Bitcoin upcoming very soon. Some of you may actually know what this is, but we're going to talk about that. Also, the fact that the SEC now has just 10 days to respond to Coinbase, which actually Coinbase had just so happened to find themselves in a bit of hot water as well. So it is just an absolute mess going on in the markets right now. However, I do want to just give a shout out to the US states like Florida and North Carolina and Texas and some of these other guys that are fighting back. In fact, there were 2 bills that were just recently passed, which are pretty incredible for the overall cryptocurrency space. So we're going to talk about all that today. Meme coin season. What is going on with Bitcoin? What should we expect? Should we be worried? Does this mean the markets are getting overheated? And what the heck is going on with the fact that the SEC literally just took a step backward in crypto regulation? What is going on right now, guys? So if all that sounds good to you, you know what to do. If you're not subscribed, definitely consider it. Let's dive in. Let's have a look super quick. So again, I'm not going to really talk too much about the charts until something really major starts happening. I'm not going to beat a dead horse. I'm still looking at the same level. I'm looking at a potential retest of around 25,300. And, you know, in order to kind of break above this bullish level, we'd have to break above, probably retest around 31,000. And then I would say that our next level sounds crazy, I know, but I believe if we can get above 31,000, then I do believe Bitcoin is going to go to around $37,300. That is my next price target. And I have pointed out the fact that these scenarios have both broken the downtrend. And usually this shows us that we are on the way to the upside. Again, you can see we are continuing to move in this parallel channel. Every time we get to the top, we get rejected. We're sitting right now on the heart line, right in the center again. So it's kind of a 50-50 no man's land, right? If we do fall to the downside, again, I believe that we will test that $100,000 to $300,000 area, and of course breaking above currently around 31. The channel says 32, then 37 and change is our next target. Now, even though on the lower time frames I showed you yesterday that there was a potential chance of having a bit of a rollover, I do want to just point out that, you know, on these larger charts, what we're really seeing is, you know, we're having the wave edge come down here to the bottom. We're also seeing the money flow potentially flowing into the upside, and we've also had an anchor and a trigger wave on the market cipher. So on the smaller time frames, I do believe we could see some turmoil. On the larger time frames, I think Bitcoin is looking very healthy and, you know, a lot better. I mean, right now, if you actually look at what the stock market did just yesterday and today, stocks actually fell below this 4,100 area, and we're bouncing on this very critical level of about 40.50. But if we fall below that, then stocks could come as low as 39.77. So that would not be good. And it also is showing that, you know, even though Bitcoin and stocks are still somewhat correlated, it does seem like Bitcoin is starting to decouple just a bit. And just pointing out, we're about 75% of the way to the halving. And if you just look at all the previous halvings as pointed out by Root, basically there's not really much more left in these markets as far as the bear trend is concerned. Sure, you know, we could have a little bit of a pullback, but, you know, even for example, you know, right here, this was basically the bottom. And look right here, if you take this and you even go up to that mid rally, remember this was about $14,000, and then we came all the way back down to 3. You know, what was that? About a 50% drawdown roughly. But of course, don't forget, this was also COVID, right? This was a black swan event. So if you just kind of scribble that out right there, really Bitcoin was on its way to the top, and that's where we are right now. So is there that chance of a double test? Possibly. One thing to note is that gold actually did hit an all-time high and I'm going to say this very loosely because it really, it's been tapping this level since August of 2020. But, if you really, really, really want to break things down, basically since September of 2011, we are up about 8%. So gold is up 8% since 2011, September of 2011. Okay. So, you're talking over 10 years sideways for an 8% gain. I mean, it sounds good when you say, oh, gold hit an all-time high, but I mean, come on. 10 years for 8%. Guys, Bitcoin does that on a weekday. Come on. So, Pepe is up 75%. Obviously, meme season is here. Now, yesterday I was, warning about this. Now, I'm not saying I think Pepe is necessarily done. We saw Shiba Inu, people thought it was done, and then they thought it was done, and then they thought it was done, and it went a little bit more. But, just to kind of remind you guys of what happened when Shiba Inu started pumping. We had this pump side. This is the Shiba Inu chart, by the way. We had this pump sideways. It came, and then it took another pump, and people were like, "See, I told you." And then, don't count this because whenever coins come out, it's always price discovery. But essentially, this is what Shiba Inu, ended up doing. And obviously, I'm not ragging on anyone that bought Shiba Inu. Some people made money. But, I mean, as you can see, it never really was able to reclaim. And really all it continued to do was put in sort of lower highs and lower lows. Now, I'm not going to say that Shiba Inu doesn't necessarily look like, maybe it's forming a rounded bottom. Maybe now is a good time to buy, not financial advice. But, I'm just saying be careful buying at these levels. And if you are going to buy a meme coin, you want to buy a meme coin, buy something that hasn't pumped yet, right? Not financial advice, but, I see a lot of people talking about Pepe, right? Pepe is up 422%, but I think it's only at a $6 or $7 million market cap versus Pepe, which is currently at a $666 million market cap. So if you're going to gamble, which is basically what you're kind of doing when you're doing with meme coins, look for ones that haven't pumped yet. So for example, Pepe, or look for coins that actually have fundamentals that no one's talking about, like Crazy Internet Coin, silly name, right? These guys, I think they're ISO 200, whatever, compliant. So you could check them out. Not financial advice, not saying any of these coins you should buy. I'm just saying if you're going to buy a coin, why are you going to buy something that's already pumped 40,000% or something like that? I mean, hey, do you? Maybe you can make some money on that, guys. But, just remember, a lot of the people that pump these, a lot of the pumping of these coins, there's already a group that was involved in them early on, right? Generally speaking, by the time, the public gets in, of course, they got to pump it a little bit more to get you excited. I'm just saying be careful. But hey, guys, you know what? If anyone made money on Pepe, congratulations, awesome. But I am just going to give a bit of a warning. When we do tend to see meme coins pumping the way that they're pumping, sometimes it means that the markets are desperate, right? It means Bitcoin's not doing anything, Ethereum's not doing anything. Maybe some of the institutions have stopped investing capital, and the retail is just trying to squeeze whatever last little bit they can out of the pump, which does worry me a little bit and makes me think maybe we do need to have a little bit of a retest of these lower levels, right? So just a bit of word of caution. Don't take anything on this channel as financial advice. It's just, I've been looking at these markets for 8 years now, and I just see these same cycles over and over again. Maybe this time it'll be different, though. Who knows? But getting back to the situation at hand, about half in the U.S. worry about their money's safety in the banks. You can see right here, there was actually a poll that was done. So they're saying amid turbulence in the U.S. banking system, nearly half of Americans are anxious about the safety of the money they have in accounts or at banks and other finances. A total of 48% of U.S. adults say that they are concerned about their money being in a bank, right? And you can see right here, that's pretty crazy. Having a look right here, just to break it down real quick before we get to the crazy stuff, the 2023 U.S. banking crisis primarily has affected regional banks and was largely caused, you guys ready for this, drum roll, by the Fed, no surprise, rapidly increasing interest rates, devaluing the balance sheets of banks holding U.S. treasuries. Retail consumers rapidly pulled funds from bank accounts, yielding sub 1%, yada, 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 yada. You guys don't care about the numbers. But while the banking crisis persists, fiat currencies continue their inflationary spiral. And listen to this next part. It's crazy. With record high inflation hitting Western economies such as the US and Europe. So you have countries like Argentina, Venezuela, Lebanon struggling, right? Now we know Venezuela, crazy hyperinflation. Argentina just recently, they were over 100% inflation, and crazy enough, and we know how bad it is to be in Argentina, so you would think that even looking at what's going on with the US dollar, it would look appealing to someone in Argentina. Well, an Argentinian lawmaker has suggested that citizens should save their money in crypto rather than US dollars. Can you imagine this? And someone from Argentina is saying, no, I'd rather use crypto than US dollars. That is something crazy that years ago you would have never thought someone would say that. The comments came from MP Martin Tataz, a member for the city of Buenos Aires. Tataz was responding to a tweet from a fellow Buenos Aires MP, Ramiro Mara. Mara asked politicians who oppose the dollarization of the Argentine economy, in what currency would you keep your savings? To which he replied, in crypto. Crazy, crazy times, guys. Crazy times. And then, of course, we do have the breaking Fed chair, Powell. He held this, directly after. And I mean, this has to be one of the wildest speeches that Powell gave to date.
It's obvious I was lying during the press conference. Banks are, in fact, not fine. I just have to make them cheaper next time for my dear friend, Jamie Dimon, the real chairman of the Fed. Did you regards forget who appointed me? The Mango Man did, and I am a seed agent of chaos. Most of my tenure has been chaotic and historic. The first global pandemic, then my money printer's quantitative easing that you all got hooked on. Now, a recession in an election year would complete my character arc as a Bond villain. These regional banks were too addicted to sucking on my money printer. They sucked it so hard and long that they OD'd. What's God without a little OD? He's just a G. More than 100 banks died in 2008. We've only had like 3 so far. We still have a long way to go. I know there will be idiots who buy puts on banks in their Robinhood account and then complain that their 300,000 in gains are stuck and want to sue Vlad and Robinhood. Vlad works for Kenny and me, okay? Your lawsuits are not going to go anywhere. When I dropped my mixtape cipher, you bulls didn't listen. Now you better hope and pray that Tim Apple saves your market, but given what Qualcomm just said in their guidance, the chances of that are skinny. You all got used to VIX being down at 16. Now you will see what happens when Vol jumps back up. You should have listened to Jam Croissant when he said that there was too much potential energy because of where the spooze was. Also, you f***s, especially you Sater, forgot why they say sell in May and walk away. Now don't complain about Gamma being unstable or some shit. Go eat your cup noodles while you seethe and cope. I swear Bill Ackman is going to be on TV tomorrow crying about banks again. He's such a little whiny bitch. He wouldn't last a day in my world without someone pimp smacking his stupid face. Lastly, I want to readdress that regarded journalist who asked if I had regrets. Yes, regrets I have a few, but then again, your puts, your calls. Jay Powell has you by the balls. God bless my money printer.
I wish today was April Fool's. It's not. It's actually May 4th. And by the way, I forgot to say, May the 4th be with you always. And yes, guys, this is obviously a fake AI generated deep fake mouth video. This is scary stuff. This is scary stuff, guys, because, this is going to make, figuring out what's real information and what's fake information, real news, fake news, it's going to get a lot harder. It's going to get a lot crazier. And we're going to really have to start learning to do our own due diligence and not follow. I mean, you think it's bad like listening to influencers now? What about when AI comes out and just starts, tricking everyone into thinking that politicians and people are talking, right? Which, by the way, as you guys know, you should never, ever take any advice from me on the channel. I am a stupid internet influencer just like the rest of it. I don't even like that term influencer. I'm just a guy on the internet who just likes sharing content, but that was scary. That was scary. You have to admit, that was crazy, but I bet a lot of you fell for it in the beginning, right? So let's get back to the situation at hand. We're just having some fun here. So Consensus in Austin, Texas. I wish I could have went. Unfortunately, I had a conflict of just scheduling. I couldn't go to that one. I am going to Miami though. You guys should go to that one. Links below, 10% off. But businesses have shown interest in Web3 despite US regulatory challenges. So they're saying there's a big difference between how Consensus was in 2018 versus today. They say that it attracted thousands of attendees to discuss the potential of blockchain technology. So you had Caitlin Long, founder and CEO of Custodia Bank, a Wyoming-based digital asset bank, told Cointelegraph that the conference attracted serious ecosystem participants, saying, "We've seen during crypto winters before where Consensus gets overrun with high time preference people and companies. For example, multiple Lambos parked out front of the New York Hilton in 2018. Well, and in a bus years, the low time preference people and companies just keep building. This year was the latter. So basically, in a nutshell, you weren't really seeing, I mean, I don't know if you guys remember, if anyone was around for Consensus in New York City back in the day, it really was like sparklers and fireworks and people with like Lamborghinis, which that might still happen in Miami, I don't know. But nevertheless, they said that the space seems like it's evolving, and you are seeing that general interest in Web3, right? Not just like how rich can I get, how fast can I get rich, right? So the SEC has 10 days to respond to Coinbase's complaint. Now, finally, somebody has put the SEC in check, right? Actually made them have to answer and do something, give us some kind of regulation. So according to an announcement that came out today from Coinbase's chief legal officer, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Third Circuit responded to the complaint against the U.S. SEC regarding the need for clear rules for trading digital assets. This marks a development in the legal battle for regulatory clarity. The court was instructed, instructed the SEC to respond to Coinbase within 10 days. So, a lot, like I said, a lot of the uncertainty, when you get a guy like, Logan Paul or Lindsay Lohan or Paris Hilton or whoever, some of these guys, they get hit, and they're just like, we're just going to pay the fine. We don't feel like dealing with it, right? But Coinbase is like, no, we're tired of paying these fines. We're tired of getting these Wells notices. We're going to take you to court. Whatever. Yesterday, obviously, you saw Kevin O'Leary thinks that's a bad idea from his perspective. But someone has to take a stand. Who's going to take a stand? Me? I'm going to fight the SEC. You're going to fight the SEC. Lindsay Lohan's going to fight the SEC. No, I mean, Coinbase has billions of dollars. You know what I'm saying? They have pretty much endless resources at this point. So, they are the ones, someone has to stand up, somebody has to take it to court, and somebody has to force these guys to, under oath, actually make a decision. Now, I'm not going to say that Coinbase isn't exactly, fully transparent either. Look, they all got their issues. Coinbase illegally collected face templates and fingerprints of their customers in violation of an Illinois biometric privacy law. So, Coinbase has a dedicated surveillance product called Coinbase Intelligence, which is used for harvesting data and selling it to various financial institutions, businesses, governments, and law enforcement agencies. So does this make Coinbase necessarily the what is that? The white horse, white knight? I don't know the reference. The hero? Does it make him a hero? Look, everyone has their dark side. Everyone has their light side. I haven't used Coinbase in over a year. For certain reasons. You do what you want, but nevertheless, I still think that we need some answers. So what ends up happening? Well, we start getting close. We think something's going to happen. Finally, the SEC starts to actually give us some sort of an answer. So it says they took one small step backwards, regulating the crypto sector on Wednesday when it erased what would have been its first formal definition of digital assets from its latest hedge fund rule. So we were this close. We were this close, guys. While the SEC had initially included the definition in its 2022 proposal to overhaul mandatory disclosure for hedge funds, the securities regulator yanked it in the final rule approved by the commissioners. The agency included a footnote to explain itself. The commission and staff are continuing to consider this term and not adopting digital assets as part of a rule at this time. So you can't define what a digital asset is. You can't tell us whether Ethereum is a security or a commodity, but you're totally okay sending Wells notices and fining millions of dollars for people who are not complying to your set of rules, which have not actually been clearly defined. So do I even have to follow up on this? Do I need to add commentary to this? Obviously, something needs to change. And you are seeing states push back. New Florida bill banning CBDCs has passed, arguing that they are not money and they will not allow it in their state. And guess what? North Carolina joins in Florida, passing another CBDC legislation. Dennis Porter said, we are winning in response to them blocking CBDC payments. So, it's one of those things where it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to get dragged out. Even with this Warren Davidson bill, when is it going to get passed? They're saying maybe Biden wouldn't even consider it for a whole year. So we're not talking about change. The U.S. is very slow when it comes to it, right? We have all these different organizations and committees, and no one can agree with each other, and checks and balances, which I suppose is good in a way, but then sometimes you get these rogue actors like Gensler just kind of doing whatever they want. So I don't think this is a battle that's going to be won today, tomorrow. You know, the war specifically, right, could drag on for decades, right? But I do think that over time, the US is going to wake up. And hopefully once we can, you know, kind of vote out or get, you know, these Elizabeth Warrens, you know, and people that just clearly do not understand the future and vision of Web3 out of the space, then I think the US can finally, you know, move forward and prosper and hopefully try to catch up to some of these other countries that are way, way, way ahead. You know, you have Hong Kong, the district, right? You have Singapore, Malta, Dubai, things like that. You know, unfortunately, really progressing while we're getting left behind. But, you know, hopefully they will snap out of it and figure things out soon. But something that is happening in America is Bitcoin Miami. So head on down there, guys. If you want 10% off those tickets, check out the link below. And if you are looking to trade, make sure you check out this tutorial popping up right here, right now. I'd love you guys. Get subscribed. Until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.